All right, so we're recording. Okay. All right, so great. Thank you guys for joining in today. As I mentioned, our goal is to sort of finalize our part of the playbook, the financial services playbook, as well as the workbook, which we spent a lot of time on that on Monday. Yeah. But I guess it's always possible that other divisions may make changes that may get interjected into our document again. So it's probably worth an effort of us to just sort of go back and look at that and make sure that no edits have been made that require us to do something.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So what I thought I would do is sort of share my screen to look at those documents, and we could just sort of walk through it and see if there's anything that we feel needs to be addressed or revised or anything like that. I do have some things to bring up when we get to the playbook, but I'll just wait till we get to that part. So we'll just open up the workbook document, since that seems to be the starting place for, here we go. Okay, can you see this?
Could you make the font a little bigger? Not that I'm 80, but I'm.
Yeah. Let's see here.
Up to the. Because it's put it at 100% maybe. Yeah.
How's that?
Ah, thank you.
Okay.
Even a little smaller, just.
Yeah, let me see if I can just take it down maybe to 95, and that way you can still get the whole screen on there. All right, how's that? Is that better?
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, that was an issue for me too, when people are sharing. Okay, so now we're into the workbook, okay? And so let's just sort of scroll through this. Actually, I have this opened up as a PDF. Budget. All right, I'll tell you what, how about if let's just make it smaller for now so we can see the page as we scroll, and then when we're ready to stop and look at it, I'll make it bigger.
Sounds good.
So this is the budget section.
Information needed are goods and services.
Oh, did you want to read that?
I thought there was a question for us.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't see it.
Right in that column, go up a little more. Our information needed are goods and services items require, whoops. I think you have to go up a little more. There's one other.
Up.
Yeah, there's one more yellow.
Oh, okay. Okay, what goods / now we go down.
Yeah, required division
services items are being procured.
Central office and online.
Mike, give me 1 minute. I need to make sure of something with my kids. One moment.
Okay, all right. I don't see anything here for payroll on this page.
Okay, so these are what everyone has added, and okay.
Yes, yeah, and this is the budget section. These are their key considerations, I guess. These are the questions that they have, of decisions that need to be made for budget, from related to the budget area. Again, I don't see anything for payroll there.
Okay.
This is still budget. How does this impact budget development? Expenditures, financial support.
Here we go.
Here we go. All right, so this is payroll. And let's just see if we can adjust the screen here. All right, so there's nothing on this. All right, so we've got This is sometime remove my guidance on the submission of time. Right, and same thing for both of these. Okay, so let's go to the next page. I think that's our first action. All right, so can you see this or do I need to make this larger?
Nope, that's great. Thank you.
This is good, okay.
You know, not to interject, but I wonder if we should let, what's his name? Dominic know that our whole group's not here, just so because I feel like if we have, there's like 1 or 2 more people.
Mm-hmm.
And then, because we all did this yesterday, it would be nice to have another set of eyes, you know?
Yeah, let me, I'll see, I'll text him. I sent him the meeting request as well.
Yeah.
I'm back.
Okay, all right, we're trying to see if Dominic's going to join us. Just to
Okay.
have another pair of eyes.
Okay.
Or if anybody other on our group is doing this way. So far, it doesn't look like anyone's jumped in for the changing it from another group.
No, you're right. I don't see any anything brought over. Still didn't get an answer on this question right here. Nope, we're not really sure what this is.
Mm-hmm.
Actually,
About that, yeah.
yeah, and these things that we marked for the other units, HR and communications, they're still there.
Yeah.
No changes in our wording here, and nothing here. So.
And I had mentioned the work logs yesterday. I'm hearing that it may have not been the whole city. I know Dr. Zisius had us all do it, and I know that SPED had done it, but maybe not all the other schools were as diligent as Last Crouch and like reporting like everything we were doing when we were doing it. So that was
okay. Okay, so that's what this comment is here, the bottom one about the daily logs.
Yeah.
All right, so you want to keep that, or you?
I would
you
still like
make
to keep it. I think it helps with
Okay.
transparency and.
Okay. Then yeah, so I think we've got that covered there.
Okay.
All right, so let's just go down and see if anybody else has marked us in any of their sections. We're in procurement now. All right, next page. Payment methods.
Do we need to fill in the next, continue down? Are there opportunities for consolidation in certain contexts? Okay.
I'm sorry, say that again. Should we be filling in?
So our last one was on consideration of, oh, just lost it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's
Here we go. Yeah, I heard somebody join us. Is that, oh, that's you,
No.
Mandy?
Yeah, I just
You have two
yeah,
connections.
it's my volume
That's fine.
from the phone. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we're in the procurement section now. So these things are all procurement related. I'm just scanning to see. I don't see anything related to payroll here.
Okay. No. I thought I did. If you could scroll down.
Mm-hmm.
Consideration around payment method for vendors. That's not payroll.
Right. And that was one thing I wanted to make a comment about in our payroll, that our guidance should be clear, that we'll talk about that later. So yeah, this is on payment methods for vendors.
Okay.
Okay, so that's nothing there. Now we're in the technology.
Yeah.
Access to. Could we leverage music
Communication,
or
access
access direction? Okay, I don't see anything
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Could we expand utilization? Okay, that's not us. Excuse me. Okay. How will we provide connectivity? Okay, that's another issue. All right, so what is this? Team setup. Okay, so I think that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, so now, all right, so we're good with the workbook. I think we're okay there. And nobody has thought of any other key considerations that we need to consider. So, all right, so now we're going to change over to this document. Okay, can you see this?
I'm not sure if this, Michael, I'm not sure if this goes with us, but listening today, like about, and also at the special ed talk yesterday, how some parents, and what my perception of the activity today was that we might have some kids coming into school with teachers. Now, are those teachers going to maybe, and I use this word loosely, but get some combat pay or something to entice them to come in and work in the building if there are not a lot of people to do it? Because that might be something that comes up with this citywide programs. And I didn't know if that could be put into payroll or where we should put that, or thoughts on that?
Some kind of a hazard pay?
Well, in a way, yes, because I mean, if you're saying that we have to have some of the kiddos in and those, they're not, there's just so many school-wide or citywide program teachers that, we're hopefully will, we'd have a good number wanting to come back, but what if we don't?
Okay.
And I don't know where that goes, but I just wanted to throw it out from. Maybe that just goes in my notes and question for sometime later.
I'm trying to think, should that go back in the workbook that we should raise a question?
Yeah, I like that, yeah.
I think, Mike, it should be in the workbook that, I guess if I understand it correctly, Anne Marie's question is that if I guess the rest of the staff is online and some teachers are required to come in, to work with certain student
Subgroups,
body. Yeah. Then since, this is an exceptional accommodation also, they'll be making at their end. So should there be a hazard pay discussion?
Oh, that's right. I'm not in the document. I have to. All right, bear with me. Gotta find. That's the workbook.
So discussion today made me think of that a little bit.
Okay, here we go. How does this impact? All right, now I'm in the actual document. I got to find that place.
Okay, maybe do we add question? Or?
Yeah. Here we go. Here's payroll. So now we scroll down. Now this is the one where I can't change the view very well.
Do you want to just add it as a question, or you said you had trouble doing that one?
No, I got it right here. I'm gonna put it right here in this section here. Decision. What'd you call it? Premium pay?
Or quote unquote, as you said, like hazard pay or
technically hazard pay.
Well, yeah.
maybe we put / considerations or something, just so that they're thinking about that might be a possibility to use to get,
Encourage / incentivize staff to work
I'm thinking that maybe some of those like bus duty or, the what's the word I'm looking for? Stipends, might be able to be used to put some of that towards that.
Mm-hmm.
Since they won't be used.
To work in hybrid setting.
And I felt like the discussion today was like, even if we'd go full virtual, there might still be a gap of kiddos that are able to have in person. So I think it's kind of both, not just the hybrid
Right.
one.
Okay, all right. So to work in school buildings, then how about that? Or
Yeah.
Right.
to work on site?
Yeah.
On site, yes. I think that's the main criteria. Anne-Marie, quick question for you.
Sure.
So typically in these situations, so for example, in spring, when we all went online, so from teaching, perspective where you are, so typically then how does homebound work? Or it just didn't happen, because we didn't have the right circumstances for it?
I do not cover homebound, but I doubt it was being covered. If it was virtual.
Right. That's what I
And with a lot of our special kiddos in those kind of populations, they are really at high risk, but the adult, it's a tricky slope.
Right.
You'd hate for an adult to give something to a kiddo.
Okay, so all right, I've got that there, and I imagine that's a human resources question.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so moving back to the playbook. Okay, and now this doesn't quite. Oh, all right. So I'm in the PDF right now. Something's happening with the pagination on this. It's sort of getting off. I'm not sure what's up with that. Okay, so here we are with payroll. And I actually, we can do it real quick here too. Just see if anybody, this is a different place. I don't expect anyone else to have comments in their section that would relate to us. So let's see, okay, here we are. I think this is still a good comment. I don't have any changes to it. The one thing I wanted to potentially raise is part of our giving division guidance maybe we should also tell staff what they should expect in terms of the pay stub documents. Anne-Marie, how do you get your pay stub?
Online. It's pretty much all online, I think.
All right, you just go to ESS and download it from there?
We usually get a email saying here it is, and if you want to log on.
Okay, so you get an email.
Yeah, I don't know if that speaks for 100% of ACPS, but that's what I know I do.
Yeah, no, it's a myriad of things that are happening. Generally, if you have direct deposit, you can get your pay stub in generally in one of two ways. Actually, you can get it two ways. By ESS, like the employee self-service, and you're familiar with that?
Not sure.
No? Okay. Or you can get it emailed to you, which is what you get. I guess I'm wondering, should we say here in the guidance that the pay stub delivery method will continue just as information to the principals, or does anything need to be said about that?
Well, then, I mean, if we're not in the building, then if someone does not get it via email or electronically, and they have to come in, it probably has to be mailed to them. So the principal.
Well, we're not. The only things that we are mailing are paper checks.
Everyone has. Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah. So nobody, if someone doesn't, let's say you didn't get your email, then we're directing employees to actually go to the employee self-service online site to actually get their pay stubs. And you can actually get copies of them going back for at least a year.
Okay.
So we're not mailing pay stubs anymore, only if you're getting a paper check. When you get
right, but the
mailing.
people who are, but what I'm saying is if someone is getting a paper check, then they're not going to be able to get it because it's going to be at school.
No, we actually mail those to their home.
Oh, okay.
And that's the current practice now, or it's been the practice, let's say forever, really. We mail checks to people's homes, but the pay stubs, we used to either send it to the schools or we would send it to, we would send it to the schools or send it by email. Yeah. So we have just stopped printing the paper for the direct deposits. Yeah. And so I guess maybe that's what I'm thinking here, that the guidance should be, or it's a reaffirmation to the principals that employee pay stubs will either be by email or electronic self-service, I guess is what I'm saying.
Sounds good.
Right. And we've had, Mike, just to, share this with the group, we've had some requests, come in where if employees had problem with ESS or whatever, then we have in those cases, attached the PDF to the email and sent them copies electronically.
Right. Yeah, that can always be handled electronically.
Right.
Without having to go in.
Right.
Okay, so let's go open up the workbook. All right, so this is where I can't control well, maybe a little bit here. Let's try the Zoom button right here. Interesting. How's that? Is that better?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's keep it going. Let's stay here. All right, so now let's turn it off. Okay. So I guess the guidance then would be here, would be to say, employee pay stubs will employee direct deposit pay stubs generally, I guess, was, home address. How's that? Employee
Yep.
direct deposit pay stubs will be available to all employees on employee self-service. And payroll paper checks will be mailed to employees' home address.
Or Mike, or you can always say to the address on file, whether it's home or PO or whatever, it's the address on file.
That would be a good clarification.
Right. So basically, whenever we respond like this, Anne Marie, we tell them that at this point in time, whatever address is on the file, that's where it's being mailed.
Yeah.
Right.
Which makes total sense.
Right.
Okay, so on the file being HR file?
Yes, I would think so.
Yeah. On file,
On
just
file,
employee.
the human resources.
Yeah. On file.
On file with human resources. Okay. So is there any other information that you think a principal should know regarding payroll? We're telling them how to handle time, clock in, clock out. We're telling them what employees, I guess, should
Mike,
we have them to monitor the payroll timesheet submission calendar or something?
yeah,
No.
I mean, all those things have been submitted to approvers and principals, Mike, at the beginning of the fiscal year. But also, I think in terms of leave, it would be good if we sort of clarify, we at our end think that work from home, yes, it is work. And if someone is not available, if someone is not online or working, that means they have to take personal, annual, sick, whatever kind of leave.
Yeah.
And I think we need to clarify these things so there is no ambiguity out there and a clear understanding with principals as well as staff.
I absolutely agree. Because
Well,
if we're
okay,
not
so-
specific, there's too much
Right, because
open to.
because you'll be surprised during these past few months how many questions we've had that with people kind of assumed that they could be offline, but there is as such no leave request required for unfortunately in the absence of a clear guidance.
Yeah.
Knowingly and unknowingly, there could be a lot of abuse.
Yeah.
Okay, so should we have a statement here that employees are expected to put in leave when not working in a hybrid or virtual environment?
Maybe when not
something like-
available due to sickness or personal,
Right.
you need to take the leave.
I guess, or if you guys agree that something to the effect of that, just as you would in a normal school year.
Yeah.
I guess we don't have, I guess you could have substitutes, huh? If somebody's,
And I think that's what they're thinking, but I'm not sure how many substitutes would be available for this kind of learning, but what do I know?
No, that's true, Anne Marie.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah, that's,
I know that
Sorry.
our school, we have a couple like go-tos, and what I would love to see, and that's probably HR, I don't think it's payroll, but I think that if we are going to use subs, we need to make sure we have some relationships with some. So like, let's say Lyles Crouch needs a sub, we might call Miss Zybrick or someone. So I think that might be something to discuss, like who has subs? Do you have a list of subs you can contact, or? Because I don't think people, like the one now what we do is we just put in for a sub. I don't think that's going to be a way to do that going forward if we're virtual. If they want a sub. So I'm not sure where that goes under.
I think that should be a question we need to put back up in the workbook again.
right.
for
In
HR.
whi-
I think HR really needs to address that policy for how subs are to
How-
be requested and used.
So, quick question, Anne Marie. So, just like TCP, can substitute management system be accessed if you're not as such in the building?
Yes.
Okay. So that means, Mike, as such, just a discussion between us, that as such they could still, use Frontline, the substitute system. They can use it from their home, but yes, of course, we just need clarity from HR as to how they plan to manage it.
And
And
actually,
the only caveat is that I think that we're going to make sure that every school has a handful of subs that the principal or the teachers know to call, because I mean, I don't know how many subs are going to be looking online for because doing an online with no Zoom, we'd have to give them the Zoom information and all of that, and that's confidential, really.
Yep.
Right.
So that
right.
can't put that out there.
Yeah, okay, so that's access, availability. Okay, and use of technology. All right, so I just wrote those notes down. We'll go back up and put that up in the upper section.
Right.
I'm just trying to finish the statement here. Really what I'm only trying to capture here is stuff that is our payroll directives that we need to provide to the principal. I really think the subs, which are good comments that we're raising, that's not a payroll action. That's really part of the substitute system or the sub procedures for requesting subs. And I think that really needs to be addressed as a part of the HR. So that's where we're going to go back and put that up. But for here,
right.
So we're talking about employees that are expected to submit leave requests from TCP. When time off is needed.
I'm thinking also this is HR obviously, but teachers, if they do have a Zoom day that they're not there, they're going to have to create a whole new Zoom meeting so that that's only a one-time gig, so that people don't have access to it all the time. So I'm sure that HR is thinking about all that.
Mm-hmm.
But Mike, it doesn't. There are some good points Anne Marie is raising, and it doesn't hurt to jot them down. Also, because we need to keep in mind that there's a brand new team, with HR this year. So they may not have that wealth of, institution knowledge, which we've had in the past. So it will be good to at least raise these questions.
Yeah, we're definitely going to raise them. I'm going to put them up in the workbook as questions for HR to address.
Right.
Okay. I understand where the food is coming from. No, it's not. Okay. All right. So now let's this is Okay, so let's go back to the other document. Add that again. Okay, so that's premium pay. So I just overwrote my. Let's see. Okay, so how can I insert a row here? This is not user friendly at all. Um, I'm having trouble finding how to insert another line into this, another row. Okay, so that's oh, here we go. Nice, let's go down it. Here. Insert a row below. Oh, okay. So
Michael, thank you for doing all this.
hey, no, it's no problem. These were questions to make sure we get out there. Just to speed available. How will they be prepared for the use of technology? Use of the virtual technology. All right, so this is, I guess, trying to think of the unit. This is definitely, I guess, HR. And isn't there a communications, I'm sorry, a technology group? Here we go. What? Here's that slide that shows the different names of the groups. Here we go. All right, so we have human resources, capital investments, and technology. All right, so that's where that would be. That's where that would be. And technology. Okay, subs. So I talked about accessing them, how to access them. There are subs available, having them available for schools, and then the use of technology. Okay, anything else? So get back here. Okay. Anything else? I can't think of any other payroll guidance. Mandeep, are all of the payroll employee tax forms online on Canvas or anything?
Yes, they are, but sometimes, if people have trouble finding something, we always send them forms as an email attachment, so they have them.
Sure. So, but if we tell the principals, hey, they can send employees that may need tax information, or I guess they can send them to the payroll. Is it at the payroll website? It's Canvas.
Yes, Canvas, but everything is online. Yes, they're available.
Okay.
This is not a payroll question, but going forward, if the teaching is online, are all of your guys' positions or whatnot, will you be working at central office or from home, or you have no idea?
We will probably be working in both. There are some activities that we, until we're all fully on site again, we will have flexibility to work in the office or work from home as much as possible. And there's some things that we have to do on site, like print checks. But there are a lot of things that we can actually still do from home. So it'll probably be a blended type of thing that payroll staff, as well as all of the financial services staff, will be working from home as much as possible, and then come into the school building to do those things that have to be done on site.
Yeah. Well, I did try to reach out to HR last month, and of course, nobody was there. Are they working on, are you guys going to have your phone calls forwarded so people can have access to you guys for questions and answers, or maybe you don't know that?
Well, that's a good question. We probably ought to look into that concept of forwarding our office phone somewhere. I have been telling my staff to make sure they check their voicemail, even if they're working from home, to check their office voicemail. But you're right, if you're calling, it would be, that I'm not sure if our system allows that, but that's something we can definitely look into, that when we're working, that we should have our calls forwarded to a number.
Yeah. I'm just thinking for parents as well as stakeholders, and there are some teachers that are not thrilled to be, not really high tech, and they'd rather call or.
Oh yeah, no, you're right. There's definitely those we do encourage contacting us by email or with our, we have different helplines, but people do call, and especially if they don't get a response to, let's say, their automated effort, then they want to talk to somebody, and
Right.
We need to be available for that. So,
Sorry to add another thing. I mean, I can
no,
put in
that's
a
not,
message.
no, that's
No,
good.
that's okay. I mean, the only way I have worked around this, and Mary, in the past 3-4 months, is that I think Mike has done it too. I've shared my cell phone number, so
Gotcha.
there have been times when people really needed to discuss and call. So I'm good with that. So at least I can talk there.
Yeah.
I'm trying to adjust this so that we can get it all to fit. Here we go. Okay, so it's still on one page. This is okay, all right. Anything else? I think we're employee tax on the finish that book. Okay. All right. I think we're looking good here. I appreciate all your efforts on this. We can. Guess we're good for the rest of this week. I know we're supposed to get these done. And we'll see what our next assignment is. So I guess starting on Monday. So, anybody have any comments to bring up? Point
No,
out?
just curious, Mike and Marie. Do you think we did some kind of a survey with teachers where we asked them how many of them would like to come in for would prefer distance learning, and how many are okay coming in person?
You know, I don't know if HR, if you can do that, but I think that it would be a really good idea, especially for Dr. Werner, to put it out to SPED teachers, especially the smaller groups that may be called upon to get a feel. Because I think what Fairfax found out was they decided to do, oh, we're going to do all this. And then the teacher's like, well, we're not doing that.
That's probably why I asked this,
Yeah.
because, on 15th, Fairfax got the preference from parents. And then within 5 days, they found out they don't have adequate staffing. So
Right.
yesterday, they announced that they are going all virtual for the next school year. So I was curious.
Yeah, I think it's a really good idea to find out what our staffing availability is before we do make any.
Right, because as it's just a lesson to be learned that it ended up being a huge, huge problem.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I thought Clint put out a survey that went around. Remember, Anne Marie, where he had comments from staff as well as families.
63% of the teachers said that they would come back, and I do think that's an inflated number. And but I also think that thing, you know, as with this whole virus thing, info changes, you know, week to week, if not daily.
That's
Right,
true.
right.
That's true.
I think that sending out another, I think it would not hurt to send out another one, because if you looked at it too, it was like, are you likely, might likely, it was a little ambiguous,
Yeah.
right?
But you're right. This
And
thing was this survey was like 4 or 6 weeks back, Mike.
Yeah.
But the numbers have changed, unfortunately, for the worse during that time. So it's that kind of a situation.
And I think
Wow.
that he
Okay.
does intend to do another one next week. That's what it sounded like. But I think he needs to ask more specific, like get specific answers, less ambiguous.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
All right. This has been great
I guess
working
I
with
was
you guys.
thinking, what would people do? What would teachers do? What would they do for money if they didn't? I mean, but I guess
You could also, people could take FMLEA or whatever that's called, or they could take leave of absence, medical leave of absence. I think Virginia is also just, Northam just set some rules and guidelines.
okay.
You can't lose your job if you don't
Right.
feel. So that's HR.
Yeah, I think they allowed, Mike, you know, accommodations under the Disability Act. And,
Okay.
you know, Fairfax found out that they 2-3 times more than the number they anticipated, they qualified. And also to your question, Mike, what teachers will do, you will be surprised because of all this, the so-called pods, which are, you know, developing small 5-6 student groups, which are taking place all over, and they want teachers and very, very high rates also.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm seeing that on
Okay.
my neighborhood listserv as well. I live in Alexandria and I'm seeing that as well.
Yeah, so there's a huge demand. Yeah.
That's just part of one of the dynamics of this whole COVID environment. The pandemic is, you know, people having to make a choice between their health and safety versus having to work to make, you know, to have finance. You know, that's the tragic part. That's some of the tragic part of this.
Right.
Put themselves in an unhealthy situation just so they can survive. Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate you ladies with all this. I think we've done a good job. And if you think of anything else, I'm not sure where we're going to go next week, but I appreciate you being flexible with the Zooms and the start times and all of that.
Of course.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thanks,
you guys.
Mike.
It's been great to work with you.
Okay.
Thanks,
Have a
Anne-Marie.
great rest
All
of
right.
the week.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Bye.
You too. Bye.
Okay. All right. Okay. Bye-bye.